All right, good evening, everybody. Royal We family, how are you guys? I'm excited to be streaming live and being here with you on this Wednesday night, guys. And tonight we're going to be talking about some of the false narratives that empathic people like you and me, have been given. False narratives. Now, why is it important to talk about false narratives when we're talking about narcissistic abuse? Because a lot of you guys, and myself included, have struggled and wrestled with feeling guilty about making certain decisions. Decisions like going no contact, decisions like standing up for ourselves, decisions like saying no more, stop calling me names, stop. And narcissists have a really, really bad habit and knack for trying to make you feel like you're a bad person because you say no, because you try to have boundaries. But the issue is not them trying to make you feel bad. The issue is you actually feeling bad and guilty. So we're going to be talking about the false narratives and why they are a result of this and how we got these false narratives to begin with. So before we get into the false narratives, guys, that are going to help us out, I want to take a moment to say hi to people. Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm going to go ahead and shift over to the chat so we can see who's in. Hi, guys. Hi, Karen. How are you? Phoenix, D-Dog, Guilt Card. That's what we're going to be talking about. Blue, you didn't miss anything, hon. We are just now getting started. Hi, Susan. How are you? Lady Warrior, how you doing? Michelle Piper, April Murphy, Brown Girl Love. What's going on, guys? So good to see all of you guys. Yola Mayo, how you doing? Mark Summers, what's going on, man? Shirley, Amanda Stapleton, Jackie King, hi. How are you? Howdy, turn up the music. Oh, okay. I'll make it louder. What's up, Daryl? How are you? I hope this is not too loud for you guys. After this little drum breakdown, we'll get started, okay, guys? Here we go. Yes. Right on. Yeah. All right. That's enough of that. Yes, I do enjoy that music. Actually, that's a song that I made some time ago, back when I was into making some music, and I have a whole song out of it. Maybe one of these days I'm gonna put that out there for you guys. But we're gonna go ahead and get started with the lesson before we can take phone calls. So if one of the moderators, if you'd like to go ahead and post the post the telephone number, so that way people can start to get on the phone and start to make that phone call. We're going to be talking about the false narratives that you and I have been given as empaths growing up. A lot of the things that we have heard, a lot of the reasons in which we have been kind of pre-programmed to feel guilty about certain things, which really made us prime targets for narcissistic bullies. Okay? This is a huge part. One of the things that I know I made in an early video, one of the very first videos I did when I was trying to figure out narcissistic abuse, and I was trying to figure out why I couldn't stand up for myself, why I didn't stand up for myself. And not only that, but I was really struggling. And I had to come to the realization that early on in life, I wasn't really guided in a healthy way on how to stand up for yourself and how to stand up for boundaries. As a matter of fact, I was guided in the opposite way. And if a lot of you are out there, maybe you're going to understand and you'll follow along with what I'm about to say. A lot of us have grown up in environments where we were told that we cannot say no. Maybe you had an overbearing parent that said, don't say no to me, right? That's just the type of parent they were. They made you do things and they made you do what they said. And if you said anything back, if you said no, if you led on to believe you were uncomfortable with what was going on and that authoritative person in your life, then you were punished for it. Not only were you punished, but in being punished, maybe put on timeout, put in a corner, even spanked. And there's nothing wrong with discipline, okay? I'm a firm believer in discipline, but it has to be for the right reason. And I believe that where a lot of us, where we had adult figures in our life fail us, is that it wasn't for the right reasons a lot of the times. Discipline is for when you do something wrong. And I really strongly believe that a lot of us are the result. A lot of empaths suffer from a result of being disciplined out of place, not for doing anything wrong, but for simply learning and trying to assert boundaries. And I have children of my own. And so I'm able to watch this as they start to try to assert boundaries of their own. They're not comfortable eating at a certain time or a certain type of food. And so who am I to make them eat it and shove it in their mouth and tell them they can't have anything else, or they're going to, you know what I mean? Things like that. Or simply just saying, no, I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to do this right now. Who am I to make them do something? You know what I mean? And so, and I understand that there are things that we have to teach children and guide them and help them to understand that it's important to learn how to do things. But I really believe that a lot of us are the result of authority figures in our life that were overbearing. Another place that I remember experiencing this was not only at home with the parents, and for me in particular, I was really taught early on that it's not okay to say no. You don't say no to people. You're punished if you say no. And saying no is a huge boundary, guys. And and that's why it was difficult for me. I found it very difficult and very selfish of me even to say no to people, especially if they were even if they were being rude and disrespectful to me. I had a hard time saying no, saying stop it. And the reason was because early on I was taught that it was wrong to do that. Okay, this is a false narrative. It's a false script, and I believe my parents and the authority figures in my life failed. Okay, they should have taught me early on it's okay to have boundaries. It's definitely okay to say no. It's definitely okay to not proceed in something you're uncomfortable with, even a relationship, right? Especially relationships. Another place where you see these false narratives is in school, okay? A lot of teachers, when I was growing up, there was a lot of teachers that would really put that pressure. It was school anyways, a lot of school, a lot of classroom. It's just really comparative. You better be doing exactly what the person next to you is doing and what the person sitting across from you. Well, everybody's different. So to make a bunch of people act the same way and to punish them because they fit outside of that, and by punishment, I meant when I was in school, kids were still sent to the corners of the classroom. I know I was many times, sent to the back of the room, or even sent to the principal's office for weird things, for just being a little bit different, right? For not because we're trying to cause any problems, but because we're not learning at a certain pace, or because we're asking too many questions, right? I was the one I like to ask questions. I like to understand stuff. I want to know why things work. I'm not the type of person to sit and listen to somebody read a book and just say, well, this is the way it is. Okay. You know what I mean? So, and teachers in schools, sometimes we're notorious for that. Well, this is what the book says. This is what the science book says. And this is what it is. And I would say, but why? Why does it work like that? Well, if you have to ask why, you're never going to get it. Go sit in the back of the room. You know what I mean? And I understand that today there's been a lot of changes, and I think that schools have changed a lot, and it's not that bad. Where before you were punished or looked down on for asking too many questions or for trying to, you know what I mean? So at any rate, I think that there's a lot of false narratives that have gotten us in a really bad situation. The last false narrative I want to talk to you about is a result of being involved in church, modern Christianity. This has given all kinds of false narratives that are, unscriptural or taking scripture out of context. Things like, loving your enemies and praying for those who persecute you and this and that. And I get all that. And yes, you're supposed to do it. But the false narrative in that is that you have to somehow have relationships with these people. You don't. That's not at all what it was saying. Turn the other cheek. Another one that people take out of context, meaning that if you have family who's abusing you, well, just let them hit the other side of your face too. False narrative. That's not at all what the Bible is saying, okay? And these false narratives created in us the inability to stand up for what's right, stand up for justice, stand up for truth, and it caused us to just kind of grow limp and grow quiet. And what happened is we get involved with abusive people. They walk all over, and we feel immobilized, like we can't do anything. And so one of the goals of the royal we in the upcoming videos and what we're doing here is to break a lot of these false narratives, a lot of these false scripts that we were raised with, whether it be growing up believing that it's not okay to say no and set boundaries. Listen, guys, I can tell you firsthand, the best decision I've made in my life is to say no to certain family members and to set boundaries that keeps me and my family at a distance from certain people who want to run their mouths, people who want to call people names, people who want to cuss others out. One of the another false narrative is, well, those people just need to be loved more. And the worst false narrative, guys, I'm sure you guys have heard this one. How about this? Hurt people hurt people. Have you heard that? Guys, that is the biggest lie. Okay? And I'll be honest with you, when I was going through the narcissistic abuse with certain family members, and I remember a lot of the people I went to church with would say that. It's kind of like a crutch. It was a motto. Hurt people hurt people. And, as I thought about it, it just got to me because I know that's not true. I know what it's like to be in the presence of hurt people. Hurt people are people who are coming out of abuse. The last thing you're doing is hurting anybody else. You're looking for help. That's what hurt people do. Hurt people are looking for help. Hurt people are looking for a safe place to be. Hurt people don't hurt people. Okay? Bullies, nasty bullies are the ones that hurt people. Narcissistic bullies hurt people. Not hurt people hurt people. That's wrong. Very false narrative. And it's a dangerous narrative because that's the narrative that keeps people hooked into these relationships saying, well, they're hurt. That's why they're abusing me. They're hurting. That's why. No, they're hurting you because they're getting a sick pleasure out of it because they're narcissistic bullies. They're making that choice. It brings them pleasure. They're not doing it because they're hurting. They're doing it because it's the only thing that makes them happy, which is why you got to get out of that. Break that false narrative. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and get on with the phone calls now because I want to hear your guys' thoughts about some of the false narratives that you were brought up with that got you in this place where you found it very difficult to either stand up for yourself with a narcissist, you found it difficult to leave the relationship, you found it difficult to maybe leave your family, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your teachers, your school. What false narratives kept you involved? What false narratives did you buy into that kept you involved in a situation that you should have been out of, right? A lot sooner. So I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about that. The telephone line is open, and so I look forward to hearing your guys' thoughts on that. And while we're waiting for some phone calls, I want to go ahead and give some shout outs to our moderators. Blue, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I appreciate you very much. Everybody make sure you give Blue a lot of love tonight. And also Taylor Zabel. Taylor, thank you so much for being there. Everybody give Taylor a lot of love as well. And D-Doll, thank you so much for everything that you're doing as well. Guys, I appreciate all of your help, all of your support. The moderators really keep this chat going, guys, and I appreciate that and everything that you guys do. And someone asked for me to repeat the question for the phone call. So tonight we're talking about false narratives, guys. False narratives that you believed. Maybe there were things that were instilled in you as a young child. False narratives include things like don't say no, right? Don't stand up for yourself. Be the bigger person, and you know what I mean? And some of these things there's some truths in them, okay? You don't have to fight, right? But a lot of the false narratives and don't saying no and things like that and doing what you're told, just follow the rules, follow, you know what I mean? A lot of this stuff, it keeps you involved in abusive relationships a lot longer than you need to be in there, right? When you should have got the heck out, okay? So what kinds of false narratives have you wrestled with? What kinds of things have you struggled with in the abusive relationship? Whether you struggled with saying no, struggled with setting boundaries, struggled with leaving an abusive partner. And as you think about the reasons why you struggled, because a lot of times you knew you didn't want to go there, you know you didn't want to see the people anymore, you know you wish they would just disappear from your life, but in a lot of ways you just kept going back. a lot of this is due to false narratives, maybe even false narratives from church. A church had you believing that you need to keep going, you need to keep giving them love, you need to keep investing in these people who are abusing you. These are very false, and it's unbiblical. The Bible does not say to keep investing in people who are abusing you. Nowhere does it say that. It does not say it. In fact, it says the opposite. It says, don't throw your pearls before the swine. Stop giving what is holy to dogs, because they're not going to get it. They're not going to understand it. They're going to trample it under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. That's what the Bible really says. But a lot of churches stay away from these types of teachings, and they lean more towards the, well, just keep investing in these people, keep loving these people, keep praying for these people. Don't give up hope in these hurt people. No, and that's a false narrative. And that's what we're talking about. So we got a call from Ontario. You're live on the Royal We.
Hello, good evening, Kevin. This is All Honey QT.
Hi.
And,
how are you?
I'm okay. I'm taking it one day at a time. I've been really in a funk these past few days. I've been really struggling with a lot of different emotions and stuff like that. And I'm trying to get through it one day at a time.
Okay.
The narrative that I was always objected to was that I was always told, like, hey, Pam, can you do me a favor? And if I didn't want to do the favor, I was made to feel bad because I didn't want to do the favor. Mm-hmm. It was always like that. And even like I remember my mother, who's she has a personality disorder, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. She would want me to do things all the time. Like, she made me a slave, basically. And I remember one time it was my birthday, and she wanted me to get her a package of cigarettes. In those days, you could get cigarettes. The kids could get cigarettes. And when I refused, she had slapped me across my face in front of my people.
Wow. Wow.
And I've never forgotten it. And I remember telling her when I was about 14 years old, and I told her after she finished beating me, I told her that if I had children, I would never treat them the way she treated me.
That's right.
And because of that experience, when I had my own children, I almost like overcompensated. I did everything for them. Even when they became adults, I still do it. Even to this day, I would still do it because of the way I was treated and how I was deprived of certain things. And all these narcissists, I never realized how many people I was surrounded around. They'd always make me feel guilty for not standing up for myself. Like, I remember even being put in I was in children's aid. My brother and I were in children's aid, and the people that we stayed with, they treated us so bad. And even when they went to church, they left us in the backyard and let us stay in the backyard until they got back home. So we weren't even good enough to go to church with them.
With who?
So that's always affected me.
Who was that?
They was like the children's aid. It's like a children's services. They would put us children into the care of people who said they would get paid to take care of kids, basically, right?
Right.
So this couple, what they did is that they were churchgoers, and what they did is they locked up the house, told my brother and I to stay in the backyard, and they went off to church and left us there to stay there till they got back.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. And yeah. I mean, my heart really broke with this, and it's heartbreaking to hear this, but especially when you were young, your mom wanted you to buy cigarettes, and you said no, and you got smacked for it. This right there, that is exactly, you are the reason I'm making this video. What a false narrative that you have to listen to somebody and do something that somebody says that inside, even at a young age, that you have no business doing that. I can recall times where parents, and I've heard stories, and I've had similar situations myself, where they want to use their children's information for financial reasons, to open up, to put bills in their names and phone bills. Why? Because their credit hasn't been destroyed yet. And the narcissistic parents' credit is destroyed. And so they use and abuse their children. And if they say no, and they're forced to sign it, don't say no to me. I'm your parent. Don't say no to me. I gave birth to you. Don't say no to me. And all this stuff creates this inability because you were not guided and nurtured with how strong you are as an individual to just stand up and say, no, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this for you. It's wrong, right? And
Yeah, and it's just,
and
I'm
we're
sorry, go
learning
on.
this. The good news is we're learning this later on. We're learning this now, right? You they're not your problem anymore. Your mom is not your problem anymore. And you're not under that authority. And you never will be, right?
It's just like, I believe that all the stuff, not learning. I always figured if I just didn't do what my parents, well, my mother and certain people did, I would be okay. But it wasn't, because I also attracted other narcissists. My ex-husband, he would do things to punish me. Like, he would keep his bag packed and at the door, and if I didn't do what he told me to do, he would said he was going to leave. So it was like, I have abandonment issues,
Right.
and
Right.
I have people just forcing me to do things and holding things against me if I didn't do it.
Right.
And I'm just tired. You know what? I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired. Even now, there's nobody. Like, he abandoned my other ex-husband. He abandoned me and my daughter 2 years ago, and I'm still feeling it. I'm still that little kid. I haven't grown. I don't feel like I've grown.
And that's, you know what? And you're about to, okay? You are. And you have to understand that the abandonment, and here's the thing, you've got it. You've got it now. You've got it figured out, especially going back and understanding that of what you went through with your parents or your mom. That's where the abandonment is. And so you're on the right path, and you're going to get this figured out and get healed. And ultimately, you're going to make that transition, that shift, to where you don't need these people. You don't need these guys, right? You don't need it.
Yeah.
You're good enough. Okay? And so you don't have to live in fear of abandonment. Abandonment comes from this idea that you're just not good enough. But eventually you're going to be like, I am good enough. And the ones who are not with you, let them go, because they're the ones that aren't good enough. You know, one of the things that the narcissistically abusive people in my life told me over and over and over again, they said, Kevin, you think you're better than everybody else. And that was when I was there just trying to love them. And it destroyed me. But you know what? You know what I say now? This may sound a little bit narcissistic. I don't know. But I say, you know what?
Yeah.
I say, you know what? You're right. I am. And you're the one that's saying it, not me. But I am. That's fine. That's fine. I am. And I don't need to be around you. I don't need to be around that. And I'll let them live in that. And so you're going to get to this place too, where they're going to say these things. They're going to threaten to leave. You know, I'm going somewhere else. And you're just going to say, go. Goodbye. Get out.
Yeah.
Good luck. Right?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for telling me this. Yeah.
You're strong. You're going to be stronger. It's painful.
I'm doing the best I can right now.
I know.
Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it. And I'm going to just keep working at it, and we'll see where things go.
All right. Thank you for calling.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
It's really tough trying to understand the false narratives that you've been given, where you have been spending so much of your life trying to do the right thing according to what other people tell you is right, whether it's your parents, whether it's people in the church. Everybody has made their opinion on what's right and what's wrong, and has told you what to do and how to do it. And you walk into these relationships with these abusive people, and then you wonder, we wonder why we're having such a difficult time getting out, why it hurts so bad, and why we stay involved. It has everything to do with these false narratives, guys. And so that's what we're talking about tonight, is the false narratives that we've been given, right? I'll be honest with you guys. There is such a freedom in finally just being okay with saying no, with saying, I don't need these people in my life. Part of another false narrative is that you need certain people in your life, that you need to have a relationship with your mom and your dad. Now, this is just more of a broader false narrative. This is a community uh, society, cultural narrative. But it's false. It's not necessarily true. You have to have a relationship with your mom. No, you don't. You know how many countless families there are out there where the parents abandon the kids, right? And in other places that it's just a horrible family dynamic. Okay, you don't have to. There's no have to. So again, these false narratives that have been pushed into our life at some point, we're now kind of unwinding them. We're unraveling them and getting to a better place where we're not leaning on these false narratives, staying in abusive relationships, where we're moving on and being okay with it and becoming stronger because of it, right? And entering into a place in life where you're going to be around people and have relationships and have family with people who mutually and equally try to understand you, encourage you, love you, support you, and are there for you. Not people who are trying to fight you and control you and prove some kind of superiority over you or whatever. It's ridiculous, right? And so that's where we're at with that. That telephone call was still on. And the phone line is open, guys. I would like to hear more of your guys' stories or what you guys have to think about false narratives that you guys have dealt with. We got a call from Minnesota, and you are live, Minnesota. Hello.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
What's going on?
Hello. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm in like a narcissistic relationship.
Can you turn the computer down, please, in the background?
Yes, bro. My situation is hard, man.
Okay. Well, that call ended. Well, the phone line is open, guys. So if you guys want to make that call, go ahead and make that call. And if you guys would like to be able to support the Royal We, I would encourage you to do that. You can donate to the Royal We through the PayPal link on the home channel page of the Royal We. There's a donation link. You can donate one time, or you can donate on a monthly cycle if you like. And there's also merchandise, which is an excellent way to support the Royal We as well. And you can find out more about the merchandise down below in the description box of this video. So simply scroll down to the description box and you'll see the link there to the Royal We merchandise. There's t-shirts and all kinds of good stuff there. So be sure to check that out. We've got a phone call from Fargo. Not exactly sure where that is located, but you're live on the Royal We. Thanks for calling.
Hello. Fargo is in North Dakota.
Ah, okay. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. So I don't know, like growing up, I had like so many issues with my family. And then I believe like each a single person like in my family, they might be like a narcissistic. So and then I kind of sometimes what gets me the most is about like the false narrative that I kind of received from my mom. Um, so growing up, she was that kind of a parent. I mean, saying was not the choice. Growing up, so she wanted to do things the way that she wanted, and then no asking anything, and then even if we have like issues with the other kids, so she would say like, I will be happy if I see you getting hurt, but not hurt anybody else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so growing up is it was a kind of like a really hard having a parent, but not be able to have someone who's going to be there for the children, something like that. So, and then, or even if like still to this time, if I don't do what she wants, she'll cry, and then it think like she has nobody who's going to take over. I don't care about her enough.
Who
So
who are you talking about right now?
it's my mom.
Oh, okay. Do you live with your mom right now?
No, I move out.
Okay. That's good. That's good. But when you were
So it's
younger,
a very messy.
mhm.
I, it's a very messy environment because I have my sister. We don't get along. I have my brother. We don't get along at all. It's
Mhm.
just like that kind of a family. Like each person is speaks like they own you know, advantage. That's what they're looking for. And then to me, growing up, like I loved my family. I kind of wanted to have that family. That can look after me. The family I can, if anything happens. But I never have, that kind of like a family foundation to go to if I have any issue at it all.
Sure. Right. Yeah. No, that's typical. A lot of families don't you don't talk about your issues, especially if it's issues within the family. They like to sweep things under the rug. You just don't talk about certain things. Those are very closed off families. It teaches you not to talk about issues. It teaches you to stuff your issues, right? And that's another false
Mm,
narrative, right? And because then you stuff things, you don't open up about things, you don't learn how to talk about issues, you don't learn how to communicate what's bothering you. And this is a huge problem and another false narrative. And I say false narrative because a lot of families say, well, that's how it should be. Don't complain. Don't talk about your issues. Man, that is really false. So what? You never resolve things. You just let things go. And I just came out of in-laws that were very much like that. We don't talk about stuff. We don't. No, you're just complaining. No, we're talking about stuff. I'm trying to
mm,
talk about things, right? Why do they get so defensive? It's because they fear going deep. A lot of families fear going deep because when you start going deep into stuff, they have to dig out all the stuff that hurts. So it's easier for them to just bury it, pretend like it never
so
happened,
true.
pretend like it's not there, and that's your narrative. It's not there. It never happened. We're not talking about it. How crappy is that? And and there's a lot of families that do this, and it's very sad. And so it does create an inability to learn how to talk these issues out, okay, in a
So
healthy
true.
way. All right. So I
And
understand
then
that.
I kind of want like your opinion for like the decisions that I took and my situations. I have my older sister and then a brother and the third one. So I had, I was living with my boyfriend. So during my pregnancy, it's when my sister decided to hook up with my boyfriend. So things like in the beginning was kind of like mess. So because like I had no one else, I kept looking for my family to love me, to support me. It wasn't my first pregnancy, no experience at all. So things were happening behind my back, and I don't know what's going on. And they confront, like, they kind of like deny everything.
Right.
And the mom is that kind of a person who has like no boundaries at all. So
Yeah.
which is sometimes making me feel like betrayed. It's she hasn't. She hasn't no sense at all. Whoever she sees it can be able to offer something. That's what she goes for.
Yeah.
So I kind of like to make a decision. Like I don't want to talk it to my sister. I don't want to talk it to my boyfriend, to my ex. Even we have the child together.
Right.
But it's really kind of hard for me because they kept accusing me like I'm too controlling. I am everything. Which
Yeah.
I
Well,
doubt myself all the
narcissists.
time because I
Yeah.
don't know.
Now, narcissists love to tell you that you're too controlling, right? And that you're selfish and that you're judgmental. And all they're basically saying is, we can't control you. Therefore, you're too controlling. And so you got to watch out for this because this creates a false narrative too. What they want you to believe is that you're there to do whatever they say. So stand your ground, let them call you controlling, and be done with it.
Hmm.
All right. So you're on the right path. I want to
Thank you.
thank you for calling and for sharing all that. I appreciate it.
Thank, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Have a great evening. Bye. We're gonna have time for one more telephone call, guys. And again, we're talking about false narratives. And got a call from New York. You're live on the Royal We.
Kevin, hi. I just have to call because I was the first caller who called about um, her being slapped in the face as a child. It just hit me in the heart. Um, I was actually married. Now I realize to a violent narcissist. At the time, I just thought he had anger issues, um, and it was so apparent that at one time my daughter was maybe 2 or 3, and he slapped her in the face for trying to help him put like a gift that we bought him for Father's Day together, and he was getting so angry that she was in the way, and I was like dumbfounded, and I was in shock, and I said, "How could you do that?" He's like,
"Yeah, you know what? And that'll scar her I mean, that's a scar for life right there." And
I know
it's not necessarily the slap. The pain of the slap goes away, right? This is what people and parents don't understand. The pain of the slap goes away. But you know what doesn't go away? Is now this false narrative that's been poisonously injected into her that if I try to help a man do something, I'm going to be punished. And so she'll shy away from being that helpful person, right? If she can. Right, unless she's really weaned in the other way and has a good nurturing male support that's going to include her and allow her to help and rebuild that trust. But that's the type of stuff that does. That's what that does. I had a similar situation. I was thrown, I was a young boy, and I was thrown up against the wall in one situation because I was verbally trying to stand up for myself. I remember, against somebody else. And a bad situation really taught me not to stand up for myself. That's how these things work.
it's just that my daughter at the time was very much a fighter. She was always the one who would try to cross over the line and cross boundaries. And she was standing up to him, and he was getting madder and madder. And I'm sitting there crying, begging my 2-year-old to go in her room because I was so afraid that he was going to do something worse.
Hopefully you got out of that. Hopefully you got out of that relationship.
Oh my God, did I get out of that? I did. Oh my God, years and years ago.
It sounds like you struggled in a way to stand up.
I was so shameful that I was brought up in a generation where you don't tell what goes on outside the house. So I was like, I can't tell this to anyone. This is so shameful. And it happened a second time, and that's in front of people, and that was it. I was like, I'm mentally checked out. I plotted my escape. I mean, it was a long time ago because my daughter's much older now, but but it didn't really connect the fact that he was a narcissist. He was abusive. I mean, not just he never abused me physically, but the screaming, cursing, and yelling at us when she was crying in the middle of the night. He'd come in and scream and curse at us, and she's like, I'm bringing her in the corner of the room trying to keep her quiet, and he'd wake up in the middle of the night cursing. I mean, it was just a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. Thank God you're out of it.
Oh, thank God you're right.
Yeah.
But I mean, what are the repercussions for my daughter? I'm just wondering. She's 17 now, and
like I said, with these types of things, it could be a lot of things. One, she's going to she could either accept that type of behavior, being hit, by a man is okay. She could shy away from trying to help, being anything helpful, right? Mm-hmm. So it can go a bunch of different directions, as far as that goes. So, but these things have lasting effects.
Yeah, it's just it's like just out of a horror movie. This type of behavior. But anyway, I just had to put that out there. Thank you so much for your comments and
yeah.
Right.
I would spend a lot of time, if I'd spend a lot of time talking, perhaps with your daughter about it, get her in the habit of learning how to communicate and get this stuff out. Even if she maybe is reluctant and doesn't want to, let her know that she wasn't alone in that experience, that you felt it too, and that it hurts you as well, right? Because a lot of times, I don't know what exactly took place at the moment she was slapped, but a lot of times when these things take place, especially as young children, there's nowhere to go. They feel like nobody's there on their side and nobody
Oh no,
understands,
I
right?
got us out of there. That was my motivation. I was like, that's just a deal breaker completely. I didn't,
Right.
regardless of. But I do talk to my daughter daily, and I did bring this up to her when she was older, and she has no memory of it. But
Okay.
maybe she was just too young to remember. Thank God. But I just was, being a mother, you just like
Sure.
the father is doing this to their child, and then he said he had the right. It was his child. He could do whatever he wanted. I'm like, is he out of his mind? I'm thinking to myself, was he out of his mind? I mean,
Yeah. Well, they are. Narcissists are out of their mind. They're gone. I mean, they are literally gone. Listen, guys, we have no business being with people who are like this. We have got to stop looking at these people and their I'm a cool person attitude. I'm a big shot attitude. I'm so tough. No one messes with me. We've got to stay away from these people. It's not a joke. It's not, and it's not cute. We got to stop looking at this stuff as, oh, it's hot. Oh, it's cute. Oh, it's not. It's dangerous. And these people create lifelong problems for other people because they're bullies, right? And so this is the wake-up call. This is it. This is it. So for a lot of people who are listening and a lot of people on this channel, this is it. This is your wake-up call. Stop trying to have the hope. Stop trying to have the love. They've showed you who they are, right? Many times over. Get the heck out, right? Before it gets worse. These people, it is an issue of, it's the Royal We motto. What we say all the time. Narcissistic abuse is being with people you have no business being with, doing things you have no business doing, going places you have no business going. And yes, this can be family, friends, coworkers. It doesn't matter. You'll know it by the fruit of the Spirit. You'll know what they're doing, what they're up to, their personality, their character. We got to stop hanging around that. We have no business being involved with that. Right?
It's just tough being a parent, knowing that my daughter is with him every so often. But now that she's older, she's a tough cookie.
I'm sure she is. I'm
stuff
sure she
from
is.
people,
Yeah, and I'm sure
which
she's
is,
fine. I'm sure she's fine now. Obviously it's going to have some kind of an effect on her, but I'm sure she's okay. It's not. It doesn't. Typically, it's not. Those memories and stuff go away from when you're a child. How does it affect you though? Well, in my situation, I realized that it affected me by coming across it again in life. Do you follow me? Which is why I'm here doing this right now, is because of the experience I had recently in life that led me here. And what I experienced recently made me realize it's been there all my life. Okay. So the good news is you don't have to focus on what took place because you can't change that. That's in the past. You can't change that slap, right? That slap that rocked everybody's world. You can't change that. But what you can change is what's going to happen in the future now. The type of people that she gets involved with that maybe and you're able to help and talk and communicate in a healthy way, not in a forceful way, not telling her she's wrong or anything like that, but your knowledge and understanding and being there with her, right, in a way that she'll need some support when she comes across something that's related to that. That's what you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about what took place. You need to worry about what's coming, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you. I just had to get that out there.
Right on. Well, thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up with that. I thank you so much for being a part of the Royal We tonight. Thank you so much for your calls and for listening in, guys. It was there's a lot of difficult stuff talking about, and especially when it comes to these false narratives and these ways in which we were raised, in which we believe we have to act and we have to do things. We have to be nice and we have to turn the other cheek and we have to be loving. We have to, you know what I mean? We're walking into abusive situations a lot of times with this mentality that, well, we just have to be these good, loving people and just put up with it. No, you don't. And I encourage you guys to look into truer narratives. So for those of you who are Bible believers and you believe the narrative is to turn the other cheek and hold on to hope and hurt people and to continue loving them, then I encourage you to go and read the Bible and make sure you counter that and balance that with scriptures that says do not associate with these people, have nothing to do, read 2 Timothy, have nothing to do with the boastful, the hostile, the proud, the arrogant, the money hungry, the lustful, right? And then when you look at these scriptures, make your own decision, right? Don't just go by what the churches say. Well, just continue to love them, because that's only half true. That's only half of what the Bible has to say about dealing with people in this crazy world that we have to live on for a short amount of time. You got a short amount of time here. So you're either going to waste your time with abusive narcissists in life, trying to fight with them, get even with them, associate with them, or you're going to risk losing all of it just to be away from them so you can find your true self, right? So anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This was a difficult one. I'm probably going to follow up with a organic video on this topic of false narratives. So be looking for that this weekend or this next week. An organic video, meaning an upload where I go in more in depth and do some creative shots with it. But I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Have a great night, everybody. Like I said, you're welcome to donate to the channel through the homepage. You can also buy merchandise. All that stuff is in the description box below this video. Also, if you have not checked out the course, I encourage you to check out the Royal We course. It's available. You can find the link to that in the description box, and that's going to help you to understand the heart of the Royal We and in understanding narcissistic abuse. It's modular. It's going to grow. I have more coming out to add to that course, ongoing no contact, and helping you to develop a no contact plan that's safe and effective for you. So look out for that, guys, and we will see you tomorrow night right here on the Royal We Live, 10 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you so much, guys. All right, have a great night.